few years ago, I learned two terms, digital immigrants and digital natives. So all those kids who were sitting up here, they're the age of digital natives. They've held an iPhone or an iPad or some device in their hand since they were very, very little. And those who are around my age and older, and maybe a little bit younger, we're digital immigrants, where we didn't grow up for a good part of our life with all those things, and so it's new to us. I think it's the same with camping. Some of us are camping natives, and some of us are camping immigrants. All you up here who are wearing those Coleman shirts, and we're so happy to help you visit summer a little bit in the depth of winter. You're camping natives. It's part of your experience. It's your year. It affects your life, not just if you go to Coleman, but any camp. And then there's those, like the rest of us, who may or may not have gone to camp. I worked at a sleepaway camp here or there, but my son went to another Reform Movement camp, Eisner, up in the Berkshires, which we have some Eisner people here as well. And so by periphery, I was affected by camp, and I saw the impact it had on him. He wrote his college essay about something that happened at camp. So what is camp about, and what is so different about camp from the rest of everything? Here's what I've been thinking about. Camp, in some ways, is like the Garden of Eden. The Garden of Eden, which is written about at the beginning of Torah, is this place of lush greenery where Adam and Eve live in this setting that is outdoors. The fact that Torah starts talking so much about all the elements of the outdoors, the grass and the leaves and the trees and everything that's out there, is a reminder that at our very beginning, at our core story, at our origin story, we're meant to be outside. And here we are sitting inside with air conditioning and all these things that make it comfortable, but we should really be outside. Maybe not if you're in Idaho right now, but certainly in South Florida, it's a gorgeous night to be outside. So there's something about us that should be outside. But that Garden of Eden story is not perfect at all, because things fall apart once they eat from the apple, from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So there's elements of Garden of Eden we can leave aside. And then there's the community that one finds at camp, which is like the community of the children of Israel. When the book of Exodus opens, that community of the children of Israel is massive. They're huge, but they're not in a good place. They're enslaved in Egypt. And so there is an element of community that is found at camp, but camp is not a place of slavery. It's the opposite. It's a place of joy and love. And then there's this week's Torah portion, Truma, which is this portion about coming together and donating and making sure that as we wander through the desert for the 40 years, we will have a central place of worship to come together. And that is one of the most magical things about camp, that idea of coming together as a community in worship. But we're doing that here tonight, and we do that when we have an assembly at school, or maybe when we go to a concert. So what's different about the assembly that happens at camp more than anything else? Well, I think it's like this. There's this concept called the ring theory, which is a concept of comfort. If you're at the center of a ring, if you have something going on inside that's troubling you, everyone who's around you is supposed to comfort you. Your immediate family is supposed to comfort you, and then your extended family is supposed to comfort your immediate family who's supposed to comfort you, and so on and so on and so on. The comfort goes in, but the person who's at the center is supposed to dump out. They are not supposed to have the role of comforting people. They are the people that are supposed to receive all the comfort and only get to share their woes to the outside world. But at camp, everybody is in that inner circle. I spent a couple of summers at Camp Coleman as a rabbi when I was in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I remember that everyone spoke with as much awe about the chef that made the apple brown Betty in the kitchen. Do they still make that at Coleman, the apple brown Betty? That's a thing, right? With the same awe that they spoke about the head of the unit of teenagers that was training to be CITs. Camp is a great equalizer in the greatest of ways. There's no hierarchy like there is in a fraternity or sorority, a community that comes together. There's no unkindness, God willing, at camp. And if there is, because you're living in such close quarters, it's nipped in the bud in a way it can't be at school. There's something about camp that is different than any other societal organization, and that is great. And so if you are a camping native, if camping is part of your life, whether it was a long time ago or now, pinch yourself, because you're so lucky that you get to have that. It's real that you get to have that experience, and in a few months from now, you will be there again. And for those of us who are camping immigrants who didn't have that same experience as those, we have a lot to learn from those campers. We have a lot to learn from these kids who sat in front of us, who teach us that living a summer at a Jewish camp is something that can include athletics and inspiration and Hebrew prayers and understanding friendships that can be deeper than anything else. And so on this camp Shabbat, we want to say Kol HaKavod, all good things to our Camp Coleman campers and all those who enjoy summer camp. We are in awe of you and hope we've given you a little taste of your Camp Shabbat on this night. Shabbat Shalom.